Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about the kit release from Tamiya. So it's JS-2 Soviet heavy tank, and as you can see, this time we get it in a model 1944 ChKZ version. And it's 148 scale kit, so it should take less space, and I think it might be interesting for some modders who don't want to deal with a bigger scale. And of course we have here a commercial sample which was purchased with help of your donations, so I would like to say thank you, or let's say a lot of I would say admiration going for your will to support us, because with your help we are actually getting all this interesting stuff. And this model should be already available because it's a model number 71, so it's I would say quite aged release, but Tamiya is still producing it. That's why it is interesting to check what is actually supplied here. So the box size here is quite standard for this type or series of kits from Tamiya. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We have really nice box art here. On the side you will find also some information about the marking option, while on the opposite side you can see all three marking options which are included here. So if I open this box, it's a top opening box, and here's what we have inside. So I can see these metal weights are flying around, so maybe I can show them first. These are actually the metal weights which you should put inside the model, but of course you don't have to, because frankly speaking, I just do not see any sense in making this model heavier. Okay, so we are going to go with our usual review structure. It means that I will be opening every sprue one by one, because we have here them packed into separate plastic bags, and we will be checking them all together. And because this packaging style from Tamiya involves the paper staples, so I'm going to remove them carefully with a debonder, but it will take a bit of time, so please be patient. But we are going to start with a sprue B. Here we have top hull panel and also some turret parts, so if I zoom in here you can see what I'm talking about. And I have to say that for such size this is quite impressive details we get out of the box. Here you can see comparison with my hand, it's 148 scale after all. And what I'm seeing here, we have separate hatches. This is really good. Note that the front gun mask is molded separately. Here you can notice it, but also note the casting structure, how it is copied here. It looks rather nice, and the same can be said about hull. As you can see, a lot of pre-molded details, and I mean in 148 scale it makes sense because you won't have to deal with the separate small bits. And some modders might actually like it because it will speed up the assembly process and let you focus on more important parts than, for example, some, let's say, mesh or some small hatch, which I would say will not give you anything because this is not an interior kit. Okay, now I'm opening another plastic bag. What I also see here as a, I would say, possible modification is the side skirts. Of course, you can replicate that they are slightly damaged because they were usually slightly bent, or they were getting some additional damage during battles. So that's idea for you. And by the way, if you flip it over here inside, you can see that, for example, these turret parts, they will be aligned with help of guiding pins. So there is nothing to be worried about in terms of the parts fitment. But more hull parts are coming on this sprue. So here we have the floor panel, we also have the side panel. So as you can see on the floor it's completely plain, and frankly speaking I'm not sure if it is like this on the real tank, so feel free to write on the comment section. And if I zoom in here to the side panel, you can see that we have the some of the suspension parts actually pre-molded, so you can place the road wheels right on them. And of course such design should allow you get the right alignment out of the box. You won't have to worry about any additional issues with overall coordination of these parts together. So that's really nice. What I'm doing now is opening the third plastic bag, where we have actually two sprues, because here we get the tracks and drivetrain parts. So just give me a second. Okay, let's move this sprue to the box. And here we go. So this is the one of the two identical sprues. As you can see, it is also coming in a dark green color. So here we have road wheels. Each of the road wheels should be glued out of two halves. You can see one here and one here. We also have the plastic tracks. This is really cool because such parts should be easier to paint in weather. And I think they look a bit more convincing in comparison with their vinyl counterpart. So definitely invest some time into proper painting and weathering, and you'll be rewarded with a really nice looking model. So this is a good thing to have. As for the road wheels, as far as I remember, on this track or on this tank, there were no rubber bandages, so you don't have to worry about any masking. But maybe it would be a wise idea to replicate some weathering on these parts, because it will be visible, especially if you trying to copy the, let's say, battle-worn machine. Next, we have the sprue C. So here we have mix of parts, I would say. And you can notice that here we actually get the figurine included as well, even though it was not advertised on the box as far as I remember, but it is still included in 1/48 scale. This is a rather nice bonus because there are not that many figures in this scale. So every small opportunity is appreciated here. And of course it's up to you if you would like to have it with the tank, or maybe you would like to store it for your next build. What I also see here is that we have Pioneer tools molded separately. We will also have movable main gun, and this might be handy for some diorama purposes, or you can just fix it if you don't want to have it on your model. It's quite easy thing to resolve, I would say. So again, nothing to discuss. And now I'm opening another, and actually the last plastic bag. Here I can see a few interesting things. So first of all, we have the thread, which will be used for the towing cable. Here you can see it, nothing special, but still it's good that it is included into the standard package. You don't have to search for your own. And then we have two identical sprues. As you can see here, we have more drivetrain parts and track parts. So I will take out one of them so that we can check it together. Okay, it's actually a pair of sprues, A and P. So maybe I will zoom in so that we can check them in detail first. Here you can see the track section. Again, we have some road wheels, we have some fuel tanks here, some the suspension arms. Here we have more of the suspension arms and also this track length. And also note that this track length is actually pre-shaped, which is really nice. Even though camera does not focus, you should get the idea that it's actually bent around the road wheels as it should be. So this is a nice idea. But what I do not like here is that we have one half of the main barrel. Obviously another half is on the second sprue. So you have to glue it together. And if I flip it over here, you can see that we have some guiding elements. But obviously it might be a good idea to invest your money into the metal replacement, which will be a bit more convincing in comparison with what we are seeing here. Or of course you can sand down all the joints and maybe it will be also nice. Next we continue with a small brochure. So here I will close the lenses a bit. So this is a background information. It's printed in black and white. Here we have some information about the Rio tank. Oh, it's empty inside. This is quite interesting. I see it for the first time in Tamiya kit. So no marking guide as far as you can see. So it means that we have to move to the assembly manual. But before we do so, there is also one small plastic bag with decals. So just give me a moment. I'll try to open it. And we will take a closer look together. But of course in 1/48 scale tank you don't need a really large decal sheet. So just to prove this, here is the decal sheet. And as you can see, we have here all the necessary symbols. So maybe I'll bring it closer to the camera. Just give me a second. Here it is. And printing quality, I would say it looks fine. So it's a traditional Tamiya quality. And next we continue with assembly manual. So this one is printed in black and white. Obviously we have some instructions on which you have to read before assembly. We have also recommended tools. No parts map as far as you can see. Assembly process starts with these metal weights, but as I said, I would rather not use them because it just does not make sense. It was making sense when the whole hull was actually die casted, but here it's no use. Next we continue with the front panel. So here, as you can see, we assemble it together with the spare tracks. Then we assemble the lower hull section. And on the step 4 we continue with the suspension. Then we assemble all the road wheels here. As you can see that the rollers and also drive sprockets are also getting assembled. Note that the drive sprocket also features the vinyl poly cap. And then we continue by installing all this stuff onto the lower hull section. Then of course we get the tracks around the suspension. Then we start working actually on the top hull section. Here we have the mud guards getting into place, also fuel tanks, towing cable, and then the main gun barrel gets assembled. Again, it's a 2-piece, so maybe you can find some aftermarket replacement which will look better. Here we continue with the turret. So maybe it would be a wise idea to work with these rails because you can replace them with a metal wire and replicate some bent rails, or maybe you can just melt these parts. Also we have the Tankman figure here, and actually Tankman can be placed into the tank, so quite interesting thing. And then we attach the turret. So 14 steps in total. We have black and white marking option or marking guide, so it might be a wise idea to get some, let's say, reference materials. And here we have more marking options. So A, B, C, D, 4 marking options. And that's pretty much all. So quite a simple kit, but still it should get into the nice build in 1/48 scale. If you like some quick builds where you can focus rather on the painting and weathering procedures, this might be a good choice. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.